Now this is after we've taken notes, and this is just page 58 in your science notebook. I just have it out so that we can use it for reference. So our claims are always going to be in yellow, and you can use this in CAMI, or if you've got highlighters, you could use that as well. Evidence is going to be in pink, and then our reasoning is going to be in green. And so with this, these are some practice problems that kids in previous years have completed, and as you know, some people have less than desirable handwriting, so I just typed it and I put them in different fonts so that we can critique or give them some feedback on what they did well, what they need to improve on. So everybody got the same question. So it says, write a scientific argument that explains or that answers the following question. What would happen to the size of the hawk population if all the seeds were removed in the ecosystem? So we want to know what will happen to the hawks if the seeds were removed. So I'm going to go ahead and answer that. Let's go ahead, and I want you to do this as well. So if the seeds were removed, then the squirrels wouldn't have as much to eat. So they would end up decreasing. Also, so then that would cause, if the hawks don't have as many squirrels to eat, they would probably decrease. Let's look at the sparrows. So if the sparrows lose one of their food sources, they would probably decrease, which again results in the hawks decreasing. So if there aren't as many sparrows, there might be more grass. So if there's more grass, there'd be more grasshoppers. If there's less more grasshoppers, there'd be less grass. So then if we're looking at rabbits, if there's less grass, then the rabbits would end up decreasing as well. So I'm going to use yellow. This is the question that all of these students were trying to answer, is what would happen to the size of the hawk population if all the seeds were removed from the ecosystem? And it said, remember to support your claim with evidence and reasoning. So we're going to see what they did well and what they needs improvement. So almost just like some different tips that they need to improve on. And I'm using this to kind of help me a bit. So the person said, the student A, the hawk population will not really change. The evidence I have to prove this is that the squirrel eats the seed and the sparrow eats the seed, but the sparrow can eat the grasshopper too, so that means the hawk will only lose one animal, the squirrel. The reason I said that was because if you see my data, you will see nothing will change in the detail. All right, let's try to figure out if they even have claim, evidence, reasoning. So we know that our claim has to answer the problem or question, and it has to be restated. So if we're trying to answer what would happen to the size of the hawk population if the seeds were removed from the ecosystem, the hawk population will not really change. Well, need to restate. They didn't restate it all, and my guess is that that is their claim. And does the hawk population not really change? Well, to me it decreases. So need to restate. I'm going to say incorrect claim. So they do have a claim. It's not restated, but it's also wrong. Now let's see if they've got some evidence. The evidence I have to prove that the squirrel eats the seed and that the sparrow eats the seed, but the sparrow can eat the grasshopper too, so that means the hawk will only lose one animal, the squirrel. Okay, well my guess is that's where they tried to do some sort of evidence, but it's definitely wordy and it needs more sentences, like it's awkward to read. So they have evidence, but maybe they need to use some sentence starters, or I'm going to say wordy evidence. Like it's like run-on sentences. Now they say for their reasoning. The reason I said that was because if you see my data, you will see nothing will change in the detail. I'm guessing that's what they're trying to say is their evidence, but it's got to be explaining the why or how, so they have evidence, but it's not correct. So, or I'm sorry, they have reasoning. Have reasoning, but not correct reasoning. So they got a lot of things that they need to work on. And so what you're going to do, this was student A, student, and if I just look through a little further, student B, C, D, and E, they all have the same question. What would happen to the size of the hawk population if the seeds were removed? And again, remember we were trying to figure out hawks, and if the seeds were gone, we know that these ended up changing. They all answered it. I want you to figure out for each one, what did they do well, needs improvement. And you're going to do that for each student. And these are actual students, not last year, but like the year before and the year before that. But I just didn't use, writing because some people, their handwriting's less than desirable. So you're going to go ahead and do that. Then on the very back, you've got a story. And this story is about who stole Mrs. Messner's lunch. And what you're going to do is you're going to try to do the same thing that we did here with the claim evidence reasoning, and also what kinds of things did they do well, what kinds of things do they need improvement on. Because their question is, who stole Mrs. Messner's lunch? That's what they're trying to solve.